Gamers, Mimighoul has finally been revealed, and I am so excited. How's it going, everybody? So today I'm going to be talking about the newest archetype for the TCG, Mimighoul, and let me go ahead and show you the basic sort of idea of a deck core that I've got before these cards come in. So, the main idea behind Mimighoul is that they are flipped monsters that are all Earth that are meant to be flipped on your opponent's field. Now, what does that mean? Well, there's quite a number of things that could mean. For one, we have a lot of flip monsters that are good if you want to activate for certain, but not a whole lot that you want to go ahead and have on your opponent's field and activate, except for these cards. Let me go ahead and quickly go over each of the cards individually to allow you to understand exactly what we're going for before we get into this mess right here. Mimighoul Master is an Earth Zombie level 4. Cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect where your opponent controls any face-down monsters, or you control a Mimighoul monster other than itself. You can use each of the following effects of Mimighoul Master once per turn. If normal or special, add a Mimighoul monster from deck to hand except itself. During your opponent's main phase, you can change one face-down monster on the field to face-up attack or defense position. Now, this card is great in sort of any sort of flip control, specifically within Subterror. We won't be talking about Subterror today because I'm not too familiar with that deck, but I've been enjoying the flip archetype overall, and there's been a lot of different cards, especially with Master of Ham that came out in Photon Hypernova, that I think will add a little bit of spice to that way you can have cards that you want to flip on your field as well, including with this card and another card in the future. This card's great. Adding a Mimighoul that you can then use for later seems to be fantastic. Next up, we have Archfiend. Archfiend is one of your best Mimighoul monsters you want to add for yourself. It is an Earth Fiend, level 1, 0 attack, 1900 defense. Flip effect, if it is the main phase, apply these effects in sequence. Your opponent draws one card, send one card from your hand to the graveyard, give control of this card to your opponent. Now, this is your card that you give to your opponent because all the Mimighoul flip monsters have this effect. During your main phase, special in this card from your hand to your opponent's field in face-down defense position. However, all the other Mimighouls, except for, I believe, Cerberus, have an effect that on normal or special, they gain an effect. For this one, you can change one face-down defense position monster on the field to face-up attack or defense position, meaning 2 copies of Archfiend. You can activate both of them. You give one Archfiend to your opponent, and you normal summon this Archfiend to flip up that other one. It activates, you draw a card, your opponent sends one to grave, and you now have 2 level 1s on the field. 2 level 1 Earths, which means that the Earth link package can increase exponentially. You can also use this for Xyz plays with Xyz level 1s if you'd like. Seems great, seems fantastic. Next up is Cerberus. Cerberus is a level 1 Earth Beast, 400 attack, 1800 defense. If it is the main phase, apply these effects in sequence. Banish the top 3 cards of your deck, then special summon one of your banished monsters to your opponent's field in defense position, meaning that you then get an opportunity to activate any of your opponent's monsters whenever they activate. This is one of the weaker ones overall. It also gives control of itself to the opponent, meaning you can give it the same effect as was Archfiend. And then during your main phase, you can special this card from your hand, you face opponent's field face in defense position, and then your opponent cannot target face-up spell cards you control with card effects. Now, there's a couple of options here with this. First of all, we're going to go ahead and go back to the main thing here. We have a number of good spell cards that we want to keep on our field, including eventually Mimighoul Dungeon, but the main one we're going to be talking about is these 3 right here. Tears in the Hidden City says, your opponent can target face-down defense position monsters you control with card effects. Now, this may not seem great, but with the other flip monster that we're going to be wanting to play in Guard Dog with our other package, this would be fantastic. Monsters you control that were flip face up while this card was face up on the field gain 1500 attack and defense. Why does that matter? Well, see, if you give them to your opponent and they're flip face up and then they immediately come back to you, those stat buffs are applied because they're on the field when they're flipped up. And it doesn't have to be on either field. You control them now, and they were flipped up, so you gain 1500 attack and defense for those monsters. Fan-flippin-tastic for what you need. If this card is destroyed, if this card in this owner's spell trap is destroyed by card effect, you can target one monster in your graveyard for someone to face on defense position. This isn't as great, but I think that first effect and being able to protect your face-down defense position monster, including Guard Dog, is great. Another spell card that would be absolutely fantastic is Sunset Beat. This card says, if a face-up monster you control is changed to face-down defense position, target one card in the field, destroy it, meaning that it is able to activate very well with Soul and Luna, being able to target one card you control, change to face down defense, and target one card they control, change to face up attack. Face up defense. This then ends up triggering these cards and allows for more pops as well. And a flip monster you control is flip face up even during the damage step. Target one of them, inflict damage. I think the first effect is mostly what you'll go for. This seems to be fine overall. But I think the best overall spell card that you want to protect is Swords of Revealing Light. After this activation, it remains 50% on the field, but you must destroy it during the end phase of your opponent's third turn. Once the card is activated, if your opponent controls a face-down monster, flip all monsters they control face up. While this card is face up on the field, your monsters cannot declare an attack. This activates all of your Mimighouls that you happen to have on the field, flips them up instantly if you happen to have 1, 2, or all 3 of them if you'd like, in order to get all of their effects to activate instantly and come onto your field to allow for your link plays without having access to Master. I think that Swords of Revealing Light is going to be a 3 of in this deck specifically, which is very funny. Now that we've talked about that with Cerberus being able to protect your face-up spells, you can't be targeted with card effects, let's go ahead and take a look at the last main deck monster. Mimighoul Dragon destroys all face-up monsters you control except for Mimighouls and then gives control of this card to your opponent. Now, also to be worth noting, all these effects activate during the main phase only, meaning if your opponent tries to leave the main phase, you're going to have to go ahead and start flipping them up. You're going to have to go ahead and try to do that if they happen to go into the battle phase at all or try to pass the turn, but even if still, I think that should be fine. On normal or special, you can add a Mimighoul spell trap for your deck to your hand. Now, what are the Mimighoul spell traps? Well, these cards, specifically Maker, is one of the most powerful ones I could possibly think of yet because of these 2 cards that you're going to have access to. These are some of the best flip monsters to give to your opponent that I would think would be possible. Fire Sorcerer is a card that says randomly select 2 cards from your hand and remove them to play to inflict 800 points of direct damage to your opponent's life points. Now, why does that matter? Well, Maker reveals 2 flip monsters with different names. Your opponent randomly picks one for you to special summon to their field and face on defense position, and you add the other to hand, then you can special summon a Mimighoul monster from your hand. So, you reveal with Maker a copy of Sorcerer or Hero Shadow Scout, and specials, and add or possibly a copy of either, I don't know, Archfiend could be great to be able to trigger that automatically, or Dragon if you want to add a Mimighoul spell trap if you'd like. The best targets for this, I believe, are going to be Archfiend as well as Fire Sorcerer. So there's a chance that Fire Sorcerer will be able to trigger on that, and the adding of Archfiend being able to be special summoned means that it instantly triggers Fire Sorcerer, randomly removing from play 2 cards from their hand. That's a lot. That's a lot of advantage you can go ahead and get there. And the worst comes to worst, this will be discard fodder for perhaps your normal summon, which is this card, Predaplant Orpha Scorpio. We'll get to that in a moment. In second effect, if your opponent special summons a monster, you can base card for your graveyard, then target 1 face-down monster your opponent controls, change to face-up attack or defense position. Meaning that if you happen to have either a dragon on your opponent's field during their turn, being able to pop their whole field seems to be pretty good. This is why I don't think that this is a 1 of. I think this is going to be a 2, possibly 3 of card in order to use, but we'll have to go ahead and see how this all pans out in the long term. Mimighoul Dungeon is a field spell that you could also add off of Dragon, or I believe this is a monster. Yeah, adds a monster. So add off of the summon of Dragon. Dungeon is an activated effect that says Mimighoul monsters you control that were not normal or special summoned this turn gain attack equal to their original defense. Now, why is this important? Well, this could turn your little guys alongside Terrors in the Hidden City into near about game word ending stats. Great for clearing the entire field after you've gained their advantage already. Any player who controls a face-down monster cannot normal summon monsters nor declare an attack with monsters that were special summoned this turn. Meaning that they only can go for their special summon effects during the turn this activates. So there is a number of different cards you're going to have to work around and play around if you want to be able to use Dungeon properly. This deck is going to be difficult if you want to go for specifically my plays that I want to do to help with stopping this second part of this, where they can't normal or with Guard Dog Special. So that's pretty good. During your main phase, you can add one Mimighoul monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. This being able to add whatever you'd like as a searcher is fantastic. And finally, Mimighoul Room. Mimighoul Room simply says, special summon one Mimighoul monster from your hand or deck to your field or in face down defense position to your opponent's field. Then you can change one face up monster on the field to face down defense position. So what this could be used for is a number of different options with, I believe, I don't know about that last effect of then you could change one face up monster on the field to face down defense position, mostly because you would want to activate that only if your opponent happens to have a normal or a special already to stop them from continuing their plays. But being able to special summon Mimighoul from hand or deck is fantastic. And then finally, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target any number of your Mimighoul cards you control, return them to the hand, meaning that you can go ahead and reset your activations later on in the turn. You can only use one Mimighoul Room effect per turn and only once that turn. That means that you're going to have to go ahead and activate it on your opponent's turn, and then during your turn, you can activate Mimighoul Room to return all of your Mimighoul cards and start the process over again, clearing, sending cards from your hand to the graveyard, giving yourself more advantage with Cerberus. This is all fantastic. Oh no, my cards, oh no, be right back. Okay, we're back, sorry about that. To continue back on where we left off, we have a small engine that I think is going to be, two small engines that I think are going to compete for what Mimighoul will eventually be. That being a flip effect that you would like on your turn, including with Predaplant, Orpheus Scorpio, Lone Fire Blossom, to add this, discard any of the Mimighouls that you've already added that you get plenty of advantage of in order to special out Darlingtonian Cobra, and add a copy of Instant Fusion in order to go into Master of Ham after linking those two off into Cross Sheep. Cross Sheep, with the arrows pointed, brings up Master of Ham effect, brings itself on out into the zone that the Cross Sheep points to, and Master of Ham will set a face-down defense position monster you control from your deck, including Guard Dog, which is fantastic. And then with the last body special back from Cross Sheep, link into Beauregard Dragon, meaning that is a 1.5 card combo into a special summon lock and a unrespondable Beauregard effect. Now, if you happen to also have the Mimighoul monsters in your hand, including Archfiend, Cerberus, or Dragon, this turns off Imperm and evenly matched, meaning that this blows my mind. I love it. So that is possibly the greatest, most high roll-esque build you want to go for with these monsters. The other effects I would also include, if you're happy to go ahead and high roll with Maker, is the cards Hero Shadow Scout and Fire Sorcerer. Hero Shadow Scout says, your opponent draws 3 cards. Both players look at the cards. If there are any spell cards among them, discard all those spell cards to the graveyard. And Fire Sorcerer randomly select 2 cards from your hand, remove them to play, and to inflict 800 points of direct damage to your opponent's life points. Now that may be fine. This card's seeing a little bit of a buyout right now. I wouldn't go ahead and specifically call out using this card specifically, but I think it could be good in order to go ahead and hand loop your opponent more. And you got to be careful about doing this in time, whatever. And lastly, because all of the different Mimighouls, including all of these different monsters, are Earths, Vertisylphs come into play, especially with them being able to add themselves back continuously, meaning that there could be a lot of different link effects that you could utilize. Specifically going eventually into this card, Beauregard Dragon, being able to high link level up this card with this card advantage, and constantly be able to special summon monsters back to your field, especially summoning them out, including with Archfiend to flip up something, or Dragon in order to add a spell trap, and Master to add another Mimighoul monster from deck to hand except itself. Yeah, I'm thinking that this is going to be pretty sick. Overall, I happen to really like this sort of archetype. We've been brewing this for a while, at least me specifically. I'm so glad I'm able to go ahead and reveal this sort of general idea that I have overall. I don't think that Sunset Beat is going to be the card to play, maybe one of, as like a fun little thing to help with the advantage of popping. But Swords and Terrors in the Hidden City, I'm in. Oh, I'm in, baby. If you like this kind of content, you want me to go ahead and talk more about the TCG and the cards that I'm currently playing and the decks I want to go ahead and play in the future, please be sure to go hit that like button, give it a subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. And I will talk to you all next time. Take care, everybody. See you.